And you are watching another edition of Blewett's Blitz, a short edition of Blewett's Blitz, talking about 180 Mitchell for the Jets. Obviously, crazy week in Jetland with all the trades. Kind of look at the Sauce Gardner trade at first, and we're not going to really talk a lot about it here because it's a review. But you see the name Adonai Mitchell, and you're like, oh, I kind of remember that from last year, you know? And then you look at the stats, didn't really do too much. 312 yards is his rookie season, 9 catches, 152 yards this season. You got guys like Josh Downs. You got guys like Alec Pierce that they drafted in Indianapolis. Obviously, you have Pittman, who's kind of the fourth guy. Plus, you got Warren, and plus you have Jonathan Taylor there in the backfield. So he's kind of really like the 6th, 7th option on the team. So it makes sense he's not getting a lot of targets. Fell a little bit out of favor, and we'll talk about why throughout the full review. But a guy I thought initially was just a throw-in. Don't think he's a throw-in. Watched his entire 2024 season, every single snap. 2025 season as well. 23 years old, second round pick of 2024. 6'2", 205, like a high 9s RAS score, including a 4.340 time, a 39.5-inch vert, and 136-inch broad jump, which is quite absurd. Those are the facts about him. Let's get into the film. Him top versus one of the better corners in the NFL, and Derek Stingley. And he uses it's a modified stretch release. I'm not going to say it's a straight up stretch. A straight up stretch release would just be, right foot to the outside with a hard leg jabs, with a hard leg head nod to the outside, then get inside. He hop steps off of this front foot to a stretch release. You call it like a hop stretch. I'm completely fine with that. What that initial hop step does, it closes ground on Stingley, allows him to read a little bit of what Stingley's trying to do here. But it also, the most important part is it gets up on him a little bit so he feels some pressure. Hard step outside, because if you just a hard step outside, Stingley may not react to just one singular movement, but 2 movements he reacts to. So it's a modified stretch release right here versus a corner who has inside leverage right here, and he beats him badly. He's not targeted here, but just watch the release again versus one of the better corners in the NFL. And I do think this is one of his strengths at times. His releases can be very good at times or bad at times. Typically, and we'll see it in the bad. He's getting jammed. His hands aren't ready for the jam when he's getting beaten pressed, but he also beats guys on press. And Stingley again is a very good corner. So let's watch it up top. Talk about it a little bit. We talked about it a lot of it before it, but hop step, right? Gets Stingley to just shift a little bit to the outside. So he's kind of slowing the release. And he does this a lot, both in his releases and in his stems. He'll play with tempo, and I really like it. So hop step, right? Nice and slowed. Hard step outside, selling that it's going to be a outside releasing vertical route. Stingley bites on it, crosses the face, doesn't even have to worry about the hands because he beat him so bad. And he's wide open. Again, process versus results. I'm not one of those guys who just watches targets, just watches catches, because if I did just watch catches and targets, guess what? This play would never be on the film review. So great play for Mitchell to start. Mitchell on the bottom here uses a split release. This foot comes back to about halfway between his base right now. Right. You could do this to read some information, things like that. But there's different types of, there's gather steps, there's split releases, there's get evens. They're all slightly different. A little bit of nuance into those conversations about what's different between them. But split release here uses what I call a squirt release, 3 hard steps to the outside to squirt underneath of the DB. Let's watch it. Talk about it a little bit more after the play. Joe Flacco to AD Mitchell there. And again, good release. Split, right? Just gathering information. 3 hard steps to the outside. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Crosses the face, punches through, punches over, gets rid of that inside arm. That inside arm, what the DB's going to try to do is attach that inside arm and slingshot himself back inside. But when you deflect it like that, when you wipe it away, swipe it away, chop it, punch through, it's going to obviously defeat that arm, right? And now he's not going to have that contact point to drive back in on the route. Beats him cleanly. Slant route, easy money for Mitchell on that one. Right, next play, the ability to win deep, some double moves. And sometimes I would like to know the play call and see if it was called a double move or if he's just freelancing. He does seem to freelance a little bit. That's one of the things that you heard Garrett Wilson and the Jets talk about. Garrett Wilson's like a little bit of the freelancing. AD Mitchell does it too. So that's something he needs to work on in terms of just being more on time. Because if you're on time for the quarterback, it doesn't matter if you get open. But right here, he's running out and up versus this corner, Stingley to the bottom, but versus this corner to the top. And the one thing I noticed, I think Anthony Richardson had like a 50% completion percentage in 2024. I'm not even exaggerating. It's somewhere right around there, I believe. We've watched bad quarterbacks of the Jets, but He's worse than Zach Wilson. He's worse than Fields. He's like Luke Falk level, obviously completely different quarterbacks, but in terms of how bad they are, like my God, he's awful. But he's gonna win deep right here. Again, we'll just let it run through one time and we'll talk about it a little bit. It's just an example showing that one, like, hey, he was missed. So some of the stats that people are saying, like, oh, he didn't get, the ball was overthrown. Here on this play, right? Outside stem to the corner just to make him feel uncomfortable, because if he's releases to the inside right here and doesn't start to press him outside, he just stays outside leverage. He covers down, and then you're gonna be covered up here. So attack the DB's leverage out portion of the route, right? And this one you actually see the tempo changes very, very slightly. So he runs at like 85-90% off the line, and then you can see the shoulders come up, which should indicate to the cornerback that a break is coming, right? When he speed releases to the outside, he accelerates for like 2 steps here, a little bit extra, and it really sells it to the DB that the out portion is going to be the actual route, because the shoulders rose, he exploded to the outside, DB bites on it, crosses underneath him, crosses his face, and is open for what should be a touchdown if he's not overthrown there. It's not a touchdown. He obviously gets tackled there, but I think it probably would have been a touchdown if it was on target. But really good route. Again, just the 2 steps exploded to the outside right there, and then boom, open deep. Unfortunately, underthrown. To say overthrown on that one before. I think I said underthrown, but overthrown. This one, again, doesn't matter. He's not targeted. I'm not even blaming the quarterback, because the 3 receiver side, the passing strength is his first read. You have Mitchell to the top right here, who gets open in the end zone for what would be a touchdown if he was obviously being looked at. He's not. Again, not blaming Richardson for that or anything like that, but just wanted to show, hey, he's getting open in the red zone here. So he's not just like a deep threat. And there's some nuance to this route running right here that I really like. Again, gather step at first, right, with that right foot coming back, right, just reading information. Is he going to soft shoe? Is he bailing? Is he going to aggressive press me? Is he sitting a little bit? Okay, so just gathering information. Stretch release, head nods outside. Clearly you see the corner bites on it. Wind to the inside. Watch the left arm punch over, chop down on that hand, right? Don't let him slingshot himself back onto your route, right? And the thing that I love here, again, it's just very little nuanced things that make football really a beautiful game, is it's not like if you were just continue vertically inside here and then try to break to the outside, guess who's outside leverage? So what he does here is he races to get over the top and stack the corner, because he doesn't want to run an outbreaking route with the corner to the outside of him. So really important that he doesn't just race to the inside right here and watch him dip his shoulder and then try to get back over top of the corner, right? Gets back over top of the corner, uses what I like to call a BAM step, right? So a BAM step for him here is, obviously it's going to be opposite, but it's just going to be hard stab with the right foot, head nod to the outside, left arm swings back, creating some disassociation from the hips to the upper body, turning your hips to the outside, and he wins here. He wins there cleanly. Now let's say, everything else covered up, and then Richardson gets his eyes back there. He broke this dude's ankles. Like that was a very good route. That wasn't just a little bit of a good route. That was a very good route from Mitchell on that one. All right, another one with route running. You showed some winning deep. I think I'm going to show winning deep again, actually, in this review. I probably should have stacked them together, but nonetheless, here we are. To the top of the screen, we have the releases winning some deep. Now we have them winning on what's called a hinge route. Basically, a hinge route, just like a outside stemmed curl route, but you're trying to get outside leverage. Okay, so to the top, let's watch them real quick, and then we'll talk. Again, I think one of my favorite things about his route running is just the nuance and pacing that he has. You don't see it, I would say overly often. I'm not going to say it's rare either, but you don't see it as often as you do with Adonai Mitchell, especially for a guy who's in his second year. So I really like it. So what you're going to notice here is he comes off the ball a little bit slowed. And again, that just makes the DB feel comfortable. Okay, I got some time here. He goes from slowed to very fast, gets the DB to run full sprint with him and try to match him vertical, because his 4.34 speed is real. As he gets to the top of the route, he uses what's called a throw by on the back of the corner, which both pushes the corner vertical while helping him break back to the ball. So very good. So again, slowed to the outside. And as he starts to get on his toes, he's going to take off now. Okay, shoulders down, take off. Cornerback's in oh shit mode. This dude is fast. And then watch the hand on the back. Okay, hand on the back. Left hand comes out, smacks the near shoulder, throws him by. Maybe slips a little bit out of this break. And there's some breaks where I want to see him do like 3 or 4 stop steps instead of 2. And again, full review, we'll talk about that, all of the little nuances there as well, because we have more plays to break down in the full review. But uses the throw by, Slips a little bit, fine, doesn't matter because he beat the corner so bad. Ball is there, catch. Again, another great play showing off some of the route running. Okay, this one there's really not even a lot to break down, to be completely honest. This is a play just to show that, like, hey, he was missed quite a bit, and in this game specifically was the very first game I watched of him. This is his first game of his rookie year. And he was missed for, you saw the play before where that was a touchdown if he was targeted. I don't even count it because he was on the front side of the read. So I'll call that a half of rep that he was missed for a touchdown. He was missed for a touchdown here versus Stingley. And then I believe the other one I just showed too was the out and up. He was missed again. Stingley's a good corner. This is an awful rep from Stingley. It is what it is. He stems him a little bit vertically, hard step to the inside. Stingley sits on it so hard. I don't understand why he does. He does. Nonetheless, not the point of it. This is just a play illustrating that, hey, he was missed. It's not like his rookie year, he was playing with a stud quarterback. Not like he is with the Jets either, but 50% completion percentage. You're hoping Fields at least hits this one, but beats Stingley bad to the top again. Stingley sits on that so hard. It looks like he almost twists his ankle here or something. I don't know what goes on with Stingley and why he plays that so softly or squats on that so hard, because he takes a step or two vertical. Hard step to the inside. Stingley sinks on it, but he has plenty of time to react to the outside. So he got caught by the turf monster or something. Again, not the point of it. What I'm showing on this play is, hey, he was open quite a bit and overthrown. There's really not even much to it. He's in the slot right here. He runs a post a bender. It could be, a situation where it's supposed to be a post. This is the front side. That's the post. Could be a bender where he knows he's not going to win the seam there. So he bends it across the DB's face. But just a play of, hey, he's open deep, Richardson. Like you put this ball on target. You're talking about the minimum completion. If not a completion, a touchdown. Now he has to gear down and try to attack the ball. The corner undercuts him. But again, just two plays really, really quickly showing that, hey, it wasn't just him. All right. Some of the pacing again from Mitchell to the top right here. Let's watch it first. We'll talk about it a little bit. Slowed pace, fast pace, break outside on the out. And nice adjustment to the ball on the sideline right there, right? Not necessarily the easiest ball to catch. Full extension. Gets both toes down. 1, 2 at the last second right there. Perfect catch by Mitchell. And again, just the pacing of this, and what it does to corners, not slow, but this is 80% of his speed, 85% of his speed, right? As he starts to get a little bit more on the corner, right? He's stemming the corner outside. Now he takes it inside. You can see the head like dip right there. Shoulders dip. Now he's telling the corner on, okay, I just stemmed you inside to get vertical on you, I stemmed you outside to get vertical on you inside. DB starts to open up a little bit early. You have to respect the speed. Stop step. Break, drive, line, and again makes a really nice adjustment to the ball on the sideline. Toe taps, excellent play by Mitchell at the pacing. All right, last positive play. I really like this one too, man. So to the bottom, versus an outside corner with outside leverage. He just uses a speed release to the outside. There's nothing to the release. It's literally just called a speed release. We'll watch it first, and I'll talk about some of the little nuances here that I really, really like from Mitchell. Obviously, winning vertically and catching the ball is a plus. But two really good things about this play are, one, again, speed release to the outside. That's completely fine if you're trying to get vertical quickly. What I love though is the reduction of the inside shoulder. So watch as he starts to get on the toes of the DB. The problem is with a lot of receivers, if you leave that chest open in this situation, that near shoulder, DB's going to attach himself to that and he's going to play through your chest, right? So what he does is he dips the shoulder, and dipping the shoulder takes care of the inside hand, and he's reaching out for this outside hand just in case it was a two-handed press. The inside hand would rub off the shoulder. His left hand reaching across would knock this arm off of him. So I really, really like this, in terms of punching through, chopping down the arm that's not there. It's precautionary because if it's not there, he feels he's going to get vertical on him. Speed takes over, gets vertical on him, right? And now this is a ball that you want Anthony Richardson to lead him on, right? He puts it too far outside leverage. This is so much harder than it looks to track a ball over your shoulder like this after just beating a DB vertically running full speed. It is not easy. Finds the ball, right? You want it on this line. He doesn't. Anthony Richardson again puts it to the outside too much, and he has to track that ball. This is a very, very hard adjustment to make it to a football. Very hard. And looks it in right over the bucket. Or right into the bucket. That is a very impressive catch as well from Mitchell. A lot of receivers do not catch that. So hell of a job by him. At this point, good time to remind you guys about, a little bit more than halfway through the review. Drop a like, throw a comment, even if you don't want to. Comments help. Subscribe, tell your friends, all that stuff. $3 a month for just the YouTube reviews. $5 a month for the entire team of JetX writers and all that stuff. Appreciate you guys. JRB31 on Twitter. Follow me there as well. Let's get into the bad. All right, so we saw some of the good versus the press from Mitchell. Some of the bad here as well, and it's just his hands not being ready. So top versus Stingley again. Again, Stingley's an aggressive corner. He's a very good corner. You have to have your hands, just like offensive linemen. That quote on guard. You want just like a box strike. You want your hands, somewhere around belly button to middle of your pec type area to just be ready for the hands. And here, I believe he uses a stretch release really quickly. Yes, he does. He uses a stretch release, but you can see Stingley really squatting on that route, really leaning forward, nice and low, right? Kick step right there to keep himself balanced. And Mitchell tries to stretch release and get inside, but he gets caught in the chest. Why? Because his hands are dropped and his hands are not ready for contact from Stingley. Stingley gets his hands on. I think he probably tries to push vertical here just to knock him off the route a little bit and then break to the inside. So that's why it looks so wonky after he gets pressed. If he just went inside here, he probably takes 2 or 3 steps vertical, breaks inside on the inner of the slant. You can't even tell what the route is exactly supposed to be because of how bad he's jammed here. But a play where he's absolutely locked up. Why? He was not ready for the contact off the jump, and you have to be ready for the contact off the jump when you have a guy in press, especially showing Stingley's body language. All right, so this one to the bottom, a lot of bit of good, honestly, but just not catching the ball at the top of the play. Obviously needs to do that. His hands are not great at this point. He'll make some great catches and I'll have some drops like this. But bottom verse, Jair Alexander, hop step off the inside foot, and what that hop step allows him to do is one, like obviously you're gonna break to the outside off your inside foot. What it does is it allows him to gain ground, but if he wants to break off the left foot, he doesn't want to go right left here. Because if he goes right left, he's right into the corner, right? So the hop step allows him to, again, gather information, close ground on the DB, but also allow him to explode to the outside with the timing that he wants. So it's important. Okay. He's again, I believe he reduces his shoulder here. Yeah, he kind of reduces. He's going to throw that inside chop down, right, to defeat that arm of Alexander. Alexander's going to miss anyway. Doesn't matter. But you love the hand coming like that for Mitchell. Awesome right there. Gets vertical, right? Now, Jair is going to be on his horse trying to get vertical and match a guy who has very real speed. Hand onto the back for Mitchell. Throws him by, right? Sits the route down. Another hinge route. Come back to the ball, right? But he catches it instead of, coming back to the ball like this. He kind of catches it like this, squirts through the hands. Ball is dropped on 3rd down. Okay. Obviously, you got to finish the play. You got to catch it. Okay, to the top right here, he's going to be blocking this. One, they're showing blitz, right? I don't know if they checked into this or whatever it might have been, but you have a bubble screen, right? Makes sense if you have a blitz or guy inside here, bubble screen block. He has to just, in general, he has to be more aggressive blocker, more willing. The DB's eyes are inside all day here, but we're going to see him whiff on the block to the top of the screen. So I would say at this point on the Jets roster, I haven't watched Mechie yet. I don't know how good of a blocker he is, but out of the other rostered receivers, he's definitely the worst blocker on the team right now. So he's gonna have to obviously improve that to, you don't block, you don't get the rock deal. You just gotta be a little bit aware here, right? Like DB firing inside, eyes to the bubble. If anything, what's gonna hurt this is him getting across your face. If he gets outside of you, fine, then he'll just cut it vertical. One thing you cannot do is allow him to cross your face and get inside immediately, right? So Mitchell reads it poorly, right? Takes a bad angle, right? His eyes are inside. He's starting to work to the inside. Don't be outside leverage here. Takes outside leverage, right? Kind of runs the feet, shoot right across his face, and brings him down for the tackle, Jalen Johnson. But you gotta be anticipatory there. Like his eyes are inside. He's not even looking. Eyes are inside. Sees exactly what's coming. He's gonna shoot a shot. Again, even if he doesn't shoot a shot, you got to be inside out here to be precautious because if he shoots outside, good. Again, take it up the arc. But bad block here by Mitchell. Again, not a good blocker in general. Tyler Johnson's a good blocker. Lazard, good blocker. Arian Smith, aside from his weight, is actually a very willing blocker. Obviously, bad play, last game on 4th down, 4th and inches, but overall, a willing and feisty blocker. So something AD Mitchell has to improve on. All right. 2 more plays left of the weaknesses. One of the things he does do is he slips out of his breaks. This is not all the time, but it's enough where I wrote it down. Like, okay, it's a weakness. It's there. I believe it comes from overextending his base a little bit on some of these breaks. You got to have your foot a little bit more under you. So let's watch him here. He's going to run a dig on the backside right here. And Flacco actually targets him, but he slips at the top of the break, okay, which you don't want to have happen because if the DB sees him fall, gets his eyes back to the ball and tracks it better here, it may be an interception. It's possible, obviously. Maybe not on this one exactly, but you get the point. So closes ground, right? He goes to use a rocker step. 1, 2 to the outside. The only problem with the outside is he lunges into it and he's overextending his base. Like that's very hard to cut off of how far that foot is in front of him. Now you want the foot in front of you and you do want the foot outside of your frame a little bit, but not this far. He's reaching a little bit right there. It's gonna be very hard for him to like both stop himself and cut off of a foot with a nearly, 80% extended leg. It's just a little bit too much, right? Tries to break to the inside, but slips because of the footwork. And again, a play that's obviously incomplete could have been an interception. No, so you got to keep your base under you a little bit more. All right, last one. We'll talk about this in the full review too. Here he runs, call it a hitch. You can call it a short in if you want to, but he gets targeted here and he definitely alligator arms some stuff. There's no doubt about it. It exists. So it's something that he has to obviously clean up. You can't be afraid to go over the middle and all that stuff, take a hit, but watch him right here, alligator arm a ball. And yeah, there's gonna be some times in the NFL you have to catch a hospital ball, you have to catch a ball that you're gonna get hit on, and sits the route down, right? And as he sits the route down, his eyes flash inside. I'm sure he sees the linebacker, knows the linebacker's gonna be there, right? Flacco leads him to the inside. I'm assuming it's an inbreaker just because of how Flacco leads him. Regardless, Mitchell has time to adjust to this ball. He knows that linebacker's there, puts one hand out. He wants nothing to do with that, right? We could see that he can clearly make a better capture attempt at that. It's funny. We'll talk about the play that's controversial on Jets Twitter. We got a bunch of comments and stuff, which I'm not going to fight back with a lot of people, but I'm still right on that one. I don't care. It's just you need more nuance. There's honestly sometimes where I go to put up tweets and I'm like, this is going to be controversial. I need more time to actually explain this. I'm not going to fight with a bunch of idiots on Twitter, so I don't put it up. Should have second guessed myself on this one. I didn't, but we'll talk about that play in the full review, so don't worry. So I will explain myself on that one, even though I feel like half people agree, half people are like, oh, idiot. But okay. But like, Anthony Richardson, bad throw. It's like, yeah, I never said it wasn't a bad throw. I'm saying that he's looking for the safety, and that's why the catch attempt was so piss poor. But here, breaks inside, breaks back to the ball inside. Linebacker there, I don't think so. Okay, so that is it for the AD Mitchell review. Appreciate you guys again. JRB31 on Twitter. I've been putting out a shit ton of film. On Monday, 30 plays of Simpson-ish. 30 plays of Mendoza on Monday. Tuesday, 30 plays of Simpson. Tuesday, craziness happened. So Wednesday, I don't think I did anything. I lied. Wednesday, Mitchell, I put up like 25, 30 plays of Mitchell. Today, Thursday, I put up, 30-ish plays of Moore. So I put up a lot of plays on Twitter every week. So make sure you follow me there. I'll continue to do it with draft and free agents, all that stuff. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you soon.